Alright, so this video was a very long time coming because I never thought I would ever release the Hive, especially in its unfinished state, meaning that the second arc, which only had 1.5 parts written to it, will probably never get released. Or maybe I'll just release the first part as like a spin-off instead of like the beginning of an official arc. But, yeah, so it will be linked below, and a little thing about just the lore of the Hive in general is that it takes place in a society similar to humans where they have settings like different countries and stuff. It's just, it all kind of went to shit after an event called the Collapse, which I don't even think I have to really give a spoiler warning. It's kind of insinuated in the very beginning that this universe's version of Darkstalker started the collapse with a massive curse that ended up giving several people he knew immortality. And then you see how they live in this sort of Fallout-esque state where, yeah, it's just, everything is just this, like, weird Fallout aesthetic disaster type crap. And, yeah, so there is the Hive, which is this giant spire building thing that kind of looks like Wasp Hive. And it is run by a version of Queen Wasp. And I actually, this will sound surprising, but I did make a Roblox group based off of this. And most of the important settings within the Hive are based off of builds I made with my brother. I don't have images on me right now, but hopefully someday I will, and maybe I'll just put them in the community posts. But, yeah, back to the lore. Most of the story takes place in the ruins of, like, California. I don't know why, I just really like the setting of LA. Yeah, except for, yeah, in this version, it's kind of LA, but not as fun because everything is destroyed. There's, like, barely any working electricity in, like, the major cities. The Hive is pretty much the only place with, like, working water and electricity. And it's also just chocked full of different species of dragons. Most of them just come from, like, other places and then, like, seek refuge and stuff. So, yeah, I was actually considering giving a link to the Roblox group along with this video, and I'm kind of contemplating it. I'm like 50% sure I should do it, but at the same time, it's like really scuffed, and I made it years ago, and I was not in like the best mindset when like doing a lot of the sort of the code, quote unquote, of the group, which was just me finding ways to get, I don't know, some sort of savior complex out of it. So yeah, maybe I probably won't open the Roblox group, and if I do, I'll just rewrite everything and change it so it doesn't feel like I'm just trying to have some massive power trip like the pathetic 14-year-old I used to be. Yeah, but anyway, on the topic of other projects I've been doing, Biomechanical Volume 4, yes, it is taking very slowly, but I do have an AO3 account now, so the first 3 volumes, I'm still uploading the rest of Volume 3, but it's all up there. It's just, it's not as long as the actual documents, because the actual documents have song lyrics in them. And so I didn't want AO3 moderators to be on my ass, so I cut out most of the musical numbers, like just all the lyrics, and left the documents as they are, meaning that someday I will make another video in which the documents will be re-released as extended cuts, and they will only be available on YouTube. the Hive and Divided will also be going into that same playlist that I have dubbed YouTube exclusives. And you don't have to like pay anything for it, you don't even have to subscribe. It just means that those are the only stories the only fan fictions I've written in which you can't find them on AO3. Or like there's like no AO3 version. Because Biomechanical is on AO3. It's been trimmed down to hell and back to get around the rules of the website. So, with that in mind, if you want more, like, updates on Biomechanical Volume 4, I don't know, consider subscribing, I guess. I sound really weird when I say that, honestly. But, yeah, so I hope you take some time to read the Hive. It's not as good as Biomechanical, I'm just gonna say that. It's got some very confusing lore. It is way more violent than I intended it to be. I actually had to cut out a shit ton of stuff, like a shit ton of the violence, because it was just too much when I reread it. So, yeah. That'll be all for today.